What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of What's the Game Plan? I'm your host, Rob Murray, in head of a game that was flexed into now its primetime position, all right, between the New York Giants and the Cleveland Browns. Now, as a Washington fan myself, I will say I am glued into this game because it is either play or for bust now between us and the Giants, between that lead. So it is good to watch this game primetime by itself against the Cleveland Browns team that has come on as of late. Unfortunately, we had what some call the game of the year against the Baltimore Ravens on Monday night. But again, still an electric team that is fun to watch. I am joined by Tyler Kading representing the Cleveland Browns and Jay Felicio representing the New Orleans Giants. How are we doing this morning, gentlemen?
Doing good. Appreciate you having us on.
Absolutely, man. Again, like I said, I think it's going to be a big game. It's going to be real fun. You got an offense that is firing on all cylinders, and then you got another offense that's still trying to figure their way out, but they have a defense, right, that can create opportunities for them. So we should see overall what to be a good game. So, Tyler, as the visiting team, the floor is yours, sir, to introduce yourself.
All right, so Tyler Kading. You can catch me KCOU.FM. If you're in the Columbia, Missouri area, which I'm not sure how many of your viewers are in the Columbia, Missouri area. I'm 80 FM. Post a bunch of radio shows over there. You can catch me on Twitter at FairCub712. And yes, pretty much it. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, no problem, man. Thanks for joining, man. Jay, for yourself?
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at GManJ. I'm a part of two great sites, both goingfor2.com and sleeperwire.com. I'm an editor and writer for both sites, as well as I have a weekly show. We're taking a hiatus right now, but my partner, Dan Turner, he is an Eagles fan, so we have a little Eagles-Giants rivalry going, but we have a podcast that's going to start back up January 14th. On Thursday nights, and it's just like we take viewer questions and we have weekly topics. So obviously off season is going to be a little different, but we're going to pick that back up at the beginning of the year and excited about that.
There you go, man. I will link both these gentlemen's information in the show notes for this. Please check it out. A lot of great content, a lot of great insight. That's why we wanted to have you guys on the show. All right. So if you watched the show before, then you know the rules. We go through 4 fast round questions where we pull all our information from data analytical sites, whether it be Pro Football Focus, Sharps Football Focus, Pro Football Reference, or Team Rankings. Wherever there's stats on football, we pull them and we flip them and we quiz our opponents on them for the upcoming weeks. All right. So each participant will take 4 questions from their opposing teams. At the event of the 4 questions, we are tied. We go to what we call our XFL overtime, where you have questions range from 1 to 3 points. If they go for 1 point, it's usually a layup line. If they go for 3, then they got to dig in the bank a little bit because it will be a little harder. If there's no questions from our opponents today, Tyler, as the visiting team, you get to decide whether or not you want to take the first question or let Jay go first.
I'll let him go first.
There we go, man. Again, I say this
I had
all
a feeling
the
that's
time.
coming.
I say this all the time. Defense is always the best offense sometimes. But Jay may be equipped. I see he's decked out in his New York Super Bowl gear this morning, so he may be ready for this game. All right, Jay, we good?
Yeah, man, let's roll.
Here we go. What's the game plan? Jay, your first question in the first quarter. The Browns have a powerful 1-2 punch in the backfield with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. Both players are in the top 15 in the league for rushing yards this season and are averaging 5 yards per touch. In the first half of their games, the Browns are running the ball 42% of the time with a 44% success rate, according to Sharps Football Stats. What is their average yards per their attempts in the first half? Average yards per attempt. Is it A, 4.7 yards, B, 3.7 yards, C, 3.2 yards, or D, 4.1 yards?
You said A was 4.7?
Yes, A is 4.7.
I'm going to go with A for 4.7.
All right, Jay out the gate takes A, 4.7 yards, and he will be wrong, ladies and gentlemen. The answer is, in fact, B, 3.7 yards per carry in the first yards. All right. Keep in mind, both Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt see some of the most defenders in the box. When you look at 8+ or more defenders, Nick Chubb is looking at that about 35% of the time, and Kareem Hunt is about 32% of the time. So they're going to see a lot of defenders. And more often than not, they're just getting above 3 yards per carry, which, again, if you factor that out over the course of a drive, that still kind of ends in a first down, right? So, again, I'd like to see – I'm sure we'll see a lot more offense between those two guys this upcoming week.
No doubt. And I love Nick Chubb. I think he's one of the best pure runners in the league.
Absolutely. Hey, I'm with you on that one, all right? But unfortunately, you're not you don't jump out the gate with any points. What'd you say, Tyler?
That's all right. All right. Giants are used to coming back from behind, so we'll roll with that.
There we go. All right, so Jay fails to put up any points. Let's see if Tyler's decision to go second will work out for him well and he can jump out to a 7-0 lead. Your first quarter question. Quarterback Baker Mayfield, statistically speaking, folds under pressure. His 39.5 completion rate when pressured this season is one of the worst in the league. According to Pro Football Reference, how often do the Giants create pressure on the quarterback? All right. Is it A, 25.3% of the time, B, 33.1% of the time, C, 25.9% of the time, or D, 24.1% of the time?
Can you read A again?
A is 25.3% of the time.
I don't think it's the 33 number. I don't think it's that much. I'll go C.
All right, so he chooses C, 25.9% of the time, and he is wrong, ladies and gentlemen. The answer was, in fact, A, 25.3% of the time, all right? They have created 133 pressures so far this season with 35 sacks, all right? So if they're able to create pressure on Baker Mayfield, it may be a long day for that offense.
It's nice to see a Giants defense that can actually put some pressure on the quarterback again.
Right. So let's see. When Baker has a clean pocket, he's very, very successful. But when he's a little bit under pressure, he sends the fault.
He's really played well as of late.
Yes, he has. Here we go. 0-0 score in the first quarter. Going into the second quarter here. Back on Jay. Your second quarter question. The Browns have seen a steady increase in their passing production since losing Odell Beckham Jr. to injury during Week 7. They have seen an average of a 28.5% production increase weekly, most recently with a 355-yard outing against the Ravens. During this 6-game stretch, which Browns player has accounted for the most team air yards? Is it A, Jarvis Landry, B, Rashard Higgins, C, Kareem Hunt, or D, David Njoku?
You know what? I think I've seen that Rashard Higgins and Baker have seemed to form a little bit of a bond since Odell has went down. So I'm going to go with B, with Rashard Higgins.
All right. Jay chooses B, Higgins, the fill-in for OBJ. And unfortunately, again, he's wrong, ladies and gentlemen. The answer is, in fact, A, Jarvis Landry.
Really? I was surprised. I wouldn't have thought Jarvis Landry would be the leader in air yards. I would have think he'd go in with, in the slot with the short throws, but
no, he has 27 receptions for 61 yards in OBJ's absence. So he was brought over from Miami to be the guy. Odell was supposed to complement that, and we're seeing basically what the offense was prior to Odell getting there, right? Jarvis first, although Rashard Higgins is second, all right? So we weren't too far off, all right?
If I thought you were going to mess around, it was going to be Donovan Peoples-Jones. So I'm off to a great start.
Here we go. Tyler, back up again. Opportunity before half to put points on the board for his Cleveland Browns. Your second quarter question. Who will line up at quarterback on Sunday night remains a mystery. Quarterback Daniel Jones has not been officially ruled out, but Colt McCoy has not been named the starter yet as well. Regardless, though, the Giants need to see some life put back in their passing offense. In the last 2 weeks, they've only been able to register only 181 passing yards over the last 2 weeks. According to Next Gen Stats, what is their combined aggressiveness rating? The combined aggressiveness rating between the two quarterbacks. Is it A, 8.9%, B, 15.1%, C, 17.8%, or D, 23.5%?
The 8% just seems ridiculously low, and I don't think that's the case. Trying to remember, I didn't watch most of the Giants the past couple of weeks. It's a shot in the dark. I'm going to go with 17. So C, the 17% number.
All right, Tyler chooses C, 17.8%. And he must got some light in that darkness because he is correct, ladies and gentlemen. The answer is, in fact, 17.8%. All right. That is the right answer. So we have
the way the Giants have looked, I wouldn't have been surprised if it was just 8%.
Yeah, they don't throw it. They don't try to fit in as much as possible. They will need you, though, to try to create some spark, maybe with Darius Slayton, to get Evan Ingram back involved in this offense. All right. They have done nothing in the past in the last 2 weeks. All right. So Tyler jumps out to a 7-0 lead here right before half. Now we'll flip it. It's back on you, Tyler, to open up the third quarter. Maybe you can extend this lead to 14-0. Let's see what you can do here. Are you ready?
Yep.
All right. In the third quarter, your question. Wide receiver Darius Slayton is the Giants' most productive offensive weapon this season, with Saquon Barkley being out. His 42 receptions and 629 receiving yards are both team highs. However, he has failed to reach the end zone in the last few weeks. According to stats collected from NFL.com, where on the field is he most productive? Is it A, their goal line to the 20-yard line, B, the 21-yard line to midfield, C, the opponent's 49 to the opponent's 20-yard line, or D, the opponent's 20 to the goal line, basically the end zone? Where's he most productive?
I don't think it's either the red zone or the one backed up in the shadow of your own goal post. So I think it's definitely one of the middle two. I'm going to go with the midfield of the opponent's 20. So was that rather bigger C than that one?
So you pick C, the opponent's 49 to their 20, essentially driving into the end zone. Okay, I got you. You choose C, and unfortunately can't jump out to that 14-0 lead because it's in fact B. All right, basically starting up their drive up into their 50. He has 21 receptions for 305 yards, averaging about 15 yards a carry, and he has 3 receptions over 20-yard receiving yards. All right, so
I was nervous. That's what I thought the answer was. So.
Yep.
I would pick the same one.
Hey, when they're trying to start a drive off, more than not, Slayton is their guy they're looking for to pass the ball to. All right. And we keep it a game here as Jay can see if he can swing it a little bit to force a very what I think will be an electric fourth quarter between you two guys today. Jerry, you ready for your third quarter question?
Yeah, man, let's do it.
Here we go. The Browns' primary offensive personnel grouping is 11 personnel. So essentially one tight end and one running back. They run it 49% of the time. 69% of that, they are passing the ball. According to Sharps football stats, what is their successful play rate in the second quarter when throwing the ball? Is it A, 51%, B, 54%, C, 41%, or D, 62%? Successful play rate percentage when passing the ball in the second quarter. Yes, the second quarter.
Mm-hmm. You know, Baker struggled there for a while. He's turned it on as of late, but they were playing a lot better when they were running the ball. So I'm going to go. What was C? Was it
C was 41%. So I'll give you options again. It's A, 51%, B, 54%, C, 41%, or D, 62%.
I don't think it's as high as 62. Debating between A and C. And you know what? He's turned it on as of late, so maybe that's bumped up a little bit. I'm going to go with A with the 51%.
Jay chooses A, 51%. Should have bumped it a little bit higher because it's actually 54% B.
Okay.
All right. The second quarter is when the Cleveland Browns have scored the most points in the game, averaging 10.8 points in the second quarter. And Baker's passer rating in the second quarter is 121.8,
Wow.
7 touchdowns, 1 interception. So you were trending in the right direction. But again, 54 was the answer.
Yeah.
All right.
It's all right.
I was with you. I would have said 51 as well. So,
hey, Tyler's just trying to make you feel better because I think
that's right.
He's about to try to close the game out here. He's not trying to close the game out here. All right, in the fourth quarter, it's on Tyler to close it out. Let's see if he can do it. Tyler, you ready for your fourth quarter question?
yeah.
Here we go. The Giants are ranked in the top 10 in rushing defense. However, they fare slightly worse than league average in passing defense. Which of the Giants defenders give up the most yards when targeted? Is it A, Jabril Peppers, B, Julian Love, C, Isaac Yiadom, or D, Logan Ryan?
I highly doubt it's because if I recall correctly, Logan Ryan's been playing a lot more of the shorter, been more of a slot guy. So I don't think it's that. Yeah, I know Bill Peppers has been more of a safety, and he hasn't exactly played corner. So I figure if you're getting targeted as a safety, it's probably on a lot more deep passes. So I'm going to go with that one. I'm not sure if I said Julius Peppers.
Jabril Peppers. All right. So Tyler chooses A. Feels like against his former team, they're going to target him and may give up the most yards. But in fact, he's wrong. The answer is B, Julian Love. All right. He's currently giving up.
Still got a shot. I can tie this up.
You have a try, yeah. Julian Peppers only giving up 7.9 yards per target. So yes, he's that
really
safety, but he's playing very, very well so far this season. So they'd be mindful of them to stay away from Julian Peppers or Logan Ryan. All right, Isaac Yadam and Julian Love are both giving up over 10 yards per catch when they're targeted. All right, so Jay has an opportunity here to force overtime. Let's see what he does here.
Let's see what we can do.
Tyler has a 7-0 lead. Let's see if Jay can force overtime. Jay, your fourth quarter question. The Browns defense do a great job of creating opportunities for their offense. Their +6 turnover margin is top 10 in the league. According to team rankings, what is the Browns' turnover margin per game when they play on the road? All right, turnover margin per game when they play on the road. Is it +0.2, -0.4, C, +0.5, or D, -0.1 turnover margin per game?
You read those to me one more time?
Absolutely. It is A, +0.2, B, -0.4, C, +0.5, or D, -0.1 to force overtime.
I am going to go with D. The minus, I think it was 0.5. Is that right? -0.5?
D was 0.1, -0.1.
What was there one that was minus?
So here we go. So no, it was A +0.2, B -0.4, C +0.5, or D -0.1.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with I'm gonna stick with D with -0.1.
All right, Jay chooses D -0.1, and we're not going to overtime, ladies and gentlemen. Tyler will win the game with a 7-0 lead because the answer is in fact +0.2. All right.
Okay.
This week 10, they have been a +2 in every game, right? The Browns have been, which has been a trend. It's been off one week, and they've been great one week. So week 10, they created 0 turnovers. Week 11, 3. Week 12, 0 turnovers. Week 13, 3.
I figured it was close, and I just wasn't sure if it was quite positive or quite negative. So
if their trend continues, it could be a day where they create 3 turnovers on Sunday night, and we know the Giants.
Especially if Colt McCoy's in there, I wouldn't be so well. Either way, to be honest with you.
Exactly. The Giants have turned over 20 times, 10 interceptions, and 10 fumbles. All right, so they're in top 5 in the league. So again, this is a game where if their trend is going to continue, it will be against the Giants. So, but unfortunately, the trend didn't continue here tonight. All right, the Browns will take this game 7-0 lead. Tyler, the floor is yours for a victory speech.
Let's throw out that one thing that you just said. I'm stunned that the Browns are maddeningly inconsistent. That's still the exact same. Gab the floor, so I want to point out best player in football, Wyatt Teller. Have to give him a shout out. Legitimately has been probably the best player in football this year, and I think he's back this week, so are actually going to play this week. I know he's dealing with COVID earlier, so watch out for that one. Also, since we have Giants, we're talking about the Giants here. Shout out to the University of Illinois for somehow hiring Brett Bielema as head coach. I know he was with you guys. He was with you guys for something that's just absolutely hilarious to me, and thinking that I absolutely hate that university. Love it. Love that hire. So yeah, there's my victory speech around the horn, little whatever.
Hey Jay, you don't get a victory speech, but the floor is yours to say your score prediction.
Yeah, so I'm kind of stuck in that in between. Of course, I want the Giants to win and I want to make the playoffs, but this team isn't going to win the Super Bowl, so I kind of want to lose and get the higher top 10 pick. You know, there's a lot of people that think that's taboo and not wanting your team to win, but I want what's best for them in the long term. So I do think that Colt McCoy is going to wind up starting, which is not good. An offense led by Colt McCoy, Wayne Gallman, and Alfred Morris is not what I expected in 2020, but here we are. So I will say I think the Browns are really turning it on at the right time. I thought everybody thought they had that game won, and then Lamar Jackson came out from the bathroom and decided to finish what he started. So it was a good one. But like I said, Nick Chubb I think he's the best pure runner in the league. Baker Mayfield's playing well. James Bradbury's out. I don't think the Browns are going to have much of a I'm not as much as it hurts. I don't think they're going to have much trouble scoring on us. So I think it's going to be around something 24-10, maybe 24-13. I don't see the Giants doing much on offense, unfortunately.
Jesus, man, you might have on the wrong gear this morning. The way you talk.
I'm a realist. I want my team to win, but I call it like I see it.
I got you. I can respect that. Tyler, your score prediction?
I mean, I'd love to see you have a lot more faith in the Browns defense than I do. If you're only picking 13 points. I think the most fascinating part about all of this is Freddie Kitchens going up against the Browns.
Yeah, the Freddie Kitchens revenge game. I'm actually, believe it or not, I'm excited about him as often. If we had Daniel Jones, I'd be much more excited. But Clapper just hasn't done it for us as offensive coordinator.
See, I was when I saw Jason Garrett was out before. It was like a second before I saw who was actually replacing him, and I realized there were two options. One of them being Derek Dooley. And that would have been absolute disaster. I legitimately would have picked 0 points because he's probably the worst offensive coach in football. But now I'm going to go with I think the Giants score more than 13 points. I don't have as much faith in the Browns defense. I don't think the Ravens played incredibly impeccable. And on Monday night, especially offensively, when they were able to drop, was it 40? It was 47, but 45 of them were on offense. So I think it's going to be more than that. And also, that being said, I think the Browns offense is a little bit better than you give them credit for. So I'm going to go in more of like 30 to 20 range. I think it's going to be relatively high scoring. I think it's actually going to be a really good game. Okay. I think this is a very interesting matchup. I think the fact this is Sunday night, I'm not sure if it's the most consequential game of the week, but I think it's probably one of if the most interesting games of the week. So yeah, I'm going to go 30 to 20. But yeah, I'm going to pick the Browns to win. I think they're the better football.
Yeah, I think you guys just both gave great points. All right, so I will say I have no team in the race. Normally, I say I hope the Giants are losing, but Washington plays early in the week against Seattle. But so we'll see. We'll see. It is a Sunday night game for a reason. Prime time. We'll see what happens. I'm just hoping for a fun, exciting, and injury-free game. Both teams doesn't need to deal with that anymore. All right. Absolutely. Tyler, as the winner, you'll get a shirt that says, "A Browns, hire me as a scout." This has been a great episode. I want to thank both my participants this morning for playing with us and creating a great matchup, a 7-0 win for the Browns here. All right. Again, this has been What's the Game Plan? Thanks for watching.
Perfect.